back. I'm so happy you're here, and of course I hope you are ready for a new DIY inspiration. What we're going to use for this DIY is of course the smaller tumbling tile blocks. I always say make sure that you have 4 until 5 packages laying around in your stash so you can make every DIY. And of course we have the container with everything inside, but the most important is of course the wood glue. And I use a simple brand, but choose any brand you like, and you also can use some hot glue, but be careful also with this DIY. I have here some paint. This is just an example. You can choose any color you like. I have here my old saucer with an old piece of kitchen towel which is wet to wipe away the glue. And what we're going to do, I have here a silhouette of an owl. You see, and of course what we're going to do with it, and you get the measurements from me in a moment. So these are the main pieces we need for this DIY. So you see already the first step is on the table. There's 2 rows of 16. That will be because we're going to make first the box. At least my idea is a little bit like kind of a treasure box, memory box, where you can place little pieces in which you like. So and it is for a small space because I keep it small. You can make it as wide as you like, but I keep it small. So I have 2 rows of 16. So we have them flat on the table, and we're going to do the shortest side of the longest side on the shortest one. I think you already know this one. I don't know if I say it right. This is the longest line of the smallest sides. So, and you just row them very gently, and of course there has to be glue outside of my piece, but it doesn't want to run as well. At least I think the opening is a little thick, so I'm going to work with it in a moment. So, and I always love this kind of pieces where you can place little figurines or something inside. I always love to decorate them. And of course this one you can use all year round. That's the greatest. You don't have to use it for a season, but because this is also great for the fall season. And you can in the summer do some maybe some fruit pieces inside or some other figurines. You can change the colors up, and you can even make it for the 4th of July for everyone who is celebrating that. So the last one, and now we're going to work our way from the inside to the outside. So like this, give it some pressure, and then at the end give it at the ending some pressure. Again we go from the inside to the outside, and again do it a couple of times because you want to be sure that if you press on the outside that it doesn't jump out. So again like this, we're going to get our wet kitchen towel, we're going to wipe away the glue. We do here the same, turn it over, and if you want to make the mat clean, do it fast. Always move it and do it fast. And you see this one is loose, but it doesn't matter. You just place it down again and you glue it together. You wipe the back side also, and now you have a clean space. And look if some blocks are a little bit out of line, because some blocks are really a different size than the other ones, at least in my packages. But I hear from a lot of you, you have the same problem. So again, we have now 2 clean pieces, and we're going to let this dry in for a couple of minutes. So in the meantime, while these 2 are drying, and of course you can place them straight up if you want to, then you have a little bit more space. You have 3 rows of 6. So I'm going to do it a little bit this way so I have a little bit more space. So 3 rows of 6, and we're just going to lay them also flat on the table, and we're going to row them together. This will be our shelves inside of our frame, and we're going to, like I said, I don't do it a really big one. I do it especially a small one. If you want to double it up, it's also fine too. Then you get everything a little bit wider and a little bit more space to decorate with. But I do it for the smallest way, because not everyone has big spaces to decorate. So again, we're going to squeeze it from within over here, and this one, and the number 3, and always go to the ending and squeeze it at the end. And then we're going to clean it up, of course, wipe away the glue, make a fast move and then place it straight up, place it down again and do the back side, and always go back until you have the straight line again. Of course, like if you have a carpenter square, you don't have that problem. And again, over here, the last one, do it fast, place it straight up, and we do the back side also. And so this way we keep everything nice and clean. So we're going to give this at least 15 minutes drying. So now we have our 3 pieces of 6 and our 2 pieces of 16. So what we're going to do, we place one straight up. We're going to take one of the 6. We do some glue on both sides. So over here and over here. And we place this one on top over here. We do here the same. Some glue on this one and on this side. We're going to place this one on this side. And then the last will be a shelf. Oh, I do it almost wrong. So I'm going to do it on this side. And I'm going to place it. You have 16 blocks here. So in the middle of 8. So in 8 and 9 you are going to place the shelf. And now you get the other one, place it straight up and you fill it up with this one. Very gently, make sure that everything is inside and give it a little bit of pressure, not too much. So over here, and make sure that you have this one also to the ending. And if everything is fitting nicely, you just let it rest for at least an hour. So now my box is drying. I'm going to get my owl. And of course, I told you I would give you the measurements, or else the measurements also of your box don't fit. So what I did, I take the wider side of the owl. That will be the underside. So if you keep inside of that space, then you always have the right measurements. So this is 15.5 centimeters, 15.5 centimeters the wider side, and of course in inches it is 6 inches in wider side. And of course now we're going to do the length. The longest side is of course here, and we take it over here. It is 20.5 centimeters. 22.5 centimeters. I have to say it right, 22 centimeters. And in inches it is, I have to look for 9 inches. So if you keep inside of that space, then you're always fit to go. So I'm going to cut out this piece, but before I'm going to do that, I'm going to look for how many blocks I need. So for the owl frame we need 5 rows of 10. So 5 rows of 10. You lay them like this flat on the table, and you just make simple 5 rows of 10. And if everything is correctly, your owl is fitting inside of here. And of course you can even make it a little bit bigger if that's what you want, because not everyone loves the small ones. So you can even make it a little bigger. But of course it's, at least mine is a one which is a little bit on the small side. So again, we are going to do this as fast as I can, because I understand that this is not something that a lot of people like to see glue my blocks together. I totally understand that, but it is step by step, and I do it for everyone who enjoys and can do this together with me. So if you don't like it, just skip forward and just go to the part which is already the next step with the owl. So I'm going to do the last couple of blocks, and like I told you, I do it as fast as I can. Let me know if you are also into owls. I don't, in the past I didn't decorate a lot with owls. The last period I like it a little better. So I'm not for the owls which are looking a little, yeah, I don't want to say mean, but a little angry. I don't know how you explain that. At least it doesn't have a nice kind face. Maybe is that a better word? So I always look for owls in my home that at least they look very nice. So, but some owls can look a little bit dark. So I'm going to press it together. So I try to make mine look like he is a kind owl. So again, squeeze it, and the last, of course, 2 blocks, and this one, we are going to squeeze it and give it some pressure from the side. And of course, I'm going to wipe away the glue, turn them around, and do the glue also on the back side. But I won't bore with that. I do this a little. So I gave it a couple of minutes. I'm going to place one on the side. I'm going to do some glue over here. And I'm going to place another one on the side. And I'm going to do also some glue over here. And number 3, some glue on the tops over here. Make sure that everyone has a little bit of glue. So again, the last one. And now we're going to place this one aside, and we place this one together. We place this one together, and this one, and this one. And now we make one plank out of it, and we're going to give it some pressure from the ending, so we fill in nicely the open gaps. You see already they are disappearing. Just feel with your fingers, squeeze it, because the endings don't have to be straight, because you are going to place your owl on top of it and you're going to sew it out, so it doesn't matter if it is not totally straight. So again, feel with your fingers and press it together. And we're going to wipe away the glue and let it rest for at least 1.5 hours before we're going to get our saw and going to saw it out. So in the meantime, I take my silhouette of my owl and I'm going to cut it out. Of course, you can cut yours out. I just did this print, but you could do maybe a colorful piece. And like I did, I'm going to do the back side with my blocks, but you don't have to do it. You can also take a little bit of a thicker piece of cardboard, and you also can do it if you don't have a jigsaw. You can use some piece of cardboard and just cut out the owl out of a piece of cardboard and then glue it to the back side. You don't have to do it with the blocks. So I'm going to cut this one out. So I did cut out my owl, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to place this one on top of here, and I'm going to look for which is the best shape to place it. So I'm going to go for this one. And I'm going to get my marker, and I'm going to do very gently, just make some kind of lines, and later I can make it even a little bit better. I always make first a couple of lines that I know where I want to have everything this way, and then I'm going to go down a little over here, and then I'm going to make the lines thicker, because or else I don't see it with my jigsaw. But if you use cardboard, you don't have that problem. Of course, I'm going to go over here and make the point. I don't do the feet totally with all the toes. I'm going to just make a round. I'm going to go over here and over here and go around here. And I do here the same. Go under here. But if you are great with sewing and everything to do, then you can do, of course, the toes if you like that. But I keep it myself easy, and I also show for everyone who is not really familiar with the jigsaw. I keep it simple, but you can go as crazy as you like. And I'm almost there. You see, this is how the silhouette is looking like. Of course, I make it even bigger because this looks really strange if I see it, if I see it back. So I'm going to make the lines a little thicker, and then we're going to go to the garage and I'm going to saw it out. So you see already, this is how the silhouette turned out. And of course, it looks even better if you have the picture with it. Then it looks even better. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to let this dry in a little bit more, because he is dried, but not for my taste, not enough before I'm going to work with it. So I'm going to place this aside, and I'm going to get 2 rows of 6. So 2 rows of 6, because I want to give my little treasure box at least a little bit more high-end look. So I'm going to go for the 2 rows of 6 to give the bottom and the top a little bit more thickness. So I'm going to go for 2 rows of 6, and I'm going to place them on top of each other later on the top side and the bottom. So I'm going to squeeze it, and I'm going to squeeze this one, because I always love that it looks a little bit more like a high-end look. If you look at right now, of course he looks fine, but he is thin. So I'm going to go for a little bit of the thicker look. So again, wipe away the glue, make sure place it straight up, do the mat, and then finish it again and go back and make a straight line. I place this one straight up. Oh, you see already he's flying around. I'm going to do this side, and now I'm going to let both of them dry in for a couple of minutes. So I place my frame down. I'm going to do some glue on this side over the whole piece this way, and I place this one exactly in the middle over here, and I do here the same. Do some glue on each block a little, and we place this one also straight up, and we place them against here. We're going to give it some pressure, and we're going to let this dry in for at least 10 minutes. So now I have my owl, and of course I have my little cupboard box, how you call it. I'm going to have a piece of kitchen paper towel. Of course I have here my paint, and I use a little bit of the dark gray, and it's almost black, and I'm really loving this color. So I'm going to do my owl in this color, and later we're going to do the eyes and the rest in white. So I'm going to get a little of the paint, and of course I'm going to take my time for it and paint my owl in the gray color. So you see now he's in the dark gray color, and I'm going to do the back side in a moment. But first I'm going to do my little cabinet in the white color, and I'm going to let this dry in. So I did paint the owl, and of course I did paint the little cabinet. Of course, what I'm going to do, because I'm not a great person who can make great faces, so I'm going to make myself easy. I'm going to cut out this eye silhouette over here. So I have my piece where I can go around and sign it off and know exactly where I need to make my lines. So I'm going to make myself easy. I'm going to cut this out. So you see, this is what I mean. Now I'm going to place it on my owl, and I'm going to make my lines around. And then I think I'm going to cut out also this piece, and then I have it exactly the way I want to have it. So you see, I place it on top. I'm going to get my pencil, and I'm going to make my lines very easy. I'm just going to take my time for it, because I want to be sure that I have the lines really nice. And then I'm going to get my white paint, and I'm going to paint it over. So I have my silhouette, and now, like I told you, I'm going to get my paint, and I'm going to paint the whole piece white. So now I did the base, at least the round base. Now I'm going to cut out this black little round, and later of course the white dot I can make easy myself, but I'm going to cut out the black pieces. So now I'm going to place my silhouette very gently on top of here, and here I'm going to get my marker again, and I'm going to make gently little lines and make the rounds. So, and then I'm going to make the rounds in the gray color again. So you see already, this is the black little rounds, and I'm going to do now later, when it is dried up, some white in between. And then for me, my owl is already finished, and I'm going to glue it on the side of my little cabinet. So I only do the white, and then you see, of course, almost the end reveal. So, and before I'm going to glue my owl on top of my little cabinet, I found here an Easter egg. He's wooden, and of course I have a little piece of twine is on it. You can normally hang it in your tree, in your Easter tree. Of course, I'm going to paint this little Easter egg in the also dark gray color, the same like the owl, and I'm going to place glue this on top to give it a little bit more like a high-end look cabinet. So I'm going to do it very easy. I'm going to get my dark gray paint, and I paint this one because I think that it looks a little bit more like an, yeah, I think it looks a little bit more like it is an expensive piece, and it is only a piece from only a couple of dollars, and for me euros. So I'm going to paint this also in the dark gray color and glue it on top. So now I have all my pieces. I have my owl, I have my little cabinet, and I'm going to place my owl on front of here. So I hope you can see it like this. And you can glue it anywhere you like. This is just an example. You can place it anywhere. You also can cut it in half this way and then place it on top of your cabinet. You can do anything you like. I'm going to place it here on the side of my cabinet. So I'm going to place mine down. I'm doing a little bit of glue under here on this line over here to the underside this way, and a little over here, a little bit more glue. And of course it is a little too much, and that's not what we want. And I'm going to place my owl on top and make sure that he still can stand on his own. So I'm just going to place it over here and just make sure that he still can stand on the underside. And now I'm going to give my some weight on top. So I place this kind of weight, and I'm going to let this go. Oh, you see already. You see already. This is also DIYing, and I show you also what can go wrong. And this is what can go wrong. So I'm going to do it again. I'm going to place this one on top of here, a little bit more to this side, and now he can dry on his own.